Ana Carcedo. As I mentioned, I'm the Broadleaf Agronomist here at NDSU. And just for you to know what a Broadleaf Agronomist is, an agronomist is just someone that helps farmers to make decisions. So working in extension, what I do is just provide good and unbiased information for farmers to make decisions. And when I say broadleaf, it's because I work with just a set of crops. Of course, I work with dry beans. I also work with canola, with sunflower, with soybeans, with flax. So it's really, really diverse when we are talking about broadleaf here at North Dakota. And I'm going to be talking about the journey of your food, like how it goes from the field to your plate. So let's get started. So I hope everyone in the audience can relate to this figure. It's food means so much to us. It's part of our culture. It's also part of our memories. So it's so important. And then that makes it so interesting to know how it actually comes to our plate. Saying that, probably you know how a plant grows. Probably you have some house plants, or even you have a garden, and you even have some kind of like experience during your elementary school years to know how a plant grows. So what we are going to focus today is actually which are the differences how a farmer grows plants comparing to what we do in our houses. So it's basically about the scale on how we do the things. Saying that, I have to say, everything actually starts with an idea. It starts with the idea of deciding which crop we are going to use. And a lot of times it has to be with prices, but it also has to be with culture. It's really common that these farmers have like history, like a family history of growing the same sequence of crops. So it's actually part of the culture. It's part of their memories, and it's also something that it's related to what they are comfortable with. So they have been growing beans for a long time, and they know what they are doing. So when we're talking about beans, actually, there is something that's called contracts. It's most of the farmers will try to get one of these contracts with bean processing companies. With this, they are going to decide, they are going to find an agreement on prices. Sometimes they have some other restrictions, like which products they can apply on their fields, and there is more and more limitations. But it's also about an agreement and having like, they know that after harvesting, where they're going to sell and which is the price that they're going to get. Saying that, one of the first things that they're going to be in this contract is which market class these farmers going to grow. And this is so diverse. I mean, it's just amazing that we are talking that it's the same plant, it's the same species, but it changes so much. There is so many kinds of dry beans when we're talking about that. When we're saying that, it's not only the colors and the shapes and the sizes. The plants change so much that the management that the farmers has to do with different kinds of beans, it's actually really different. So when we are talking about North Dakota and we are talking about market class, we can say that around 50% of the beans that we grow here in North Dakota are pinto beans. And in the second place, we have a good chunk that is black beans. So we decide that we are going to plant beans. And then we have a ton of decisions that we have to make. Like the first decision that we are going to make is, when are we going to plant? And then here for North Dakota, we usually plant late May to early June. We try to plant as early as possible because we want our plants to have as much time to grow as possible. But when we are talking about planting early, we always have this risk that is, okay, we might have a freeze that killed our crops. So it's as early we go, it might be kind of challenging. And if we plant too late, we are actually also in the risk of having a freeze at the end of the growing season. So it's something that we have to deal. There is a lot of risk and there is a lot of potentials as well. Also, it's not only about like trying to fit that on the schedule, it's also about the soil. We need soil temperature to have a good planting season, and we also need water. We need a good amount of moisture, but also we need we actually need that it's not that wet or there is not that moisture in our soil, so we can actually enter with machinery and we don't destroy our soils. Saying that, then the following question is, okay, how many plants we put in our field? We can put a lot of plants, we can put less plants, and it's all about decisions that we have to make, and there is a lot of rationale behind this. Also, we can say the space in the interrows that we have, it could be longer, it could be narrower. There is so many things that we have to decide. So for North Dakota, and this is one of the things that it really changes with the market class. If we're talking about pinto beans, we have 70, 80,000 plants per acre. So we are talking about thousands of plants. But when we talk about black beans, we actually go from 90 to 100,000 plants per acre. So it's a lot of plants that this farmer has to take care of. Saying that, another of the decisions that we make as soon as we are deciding to plant is actually the nutritional aspect of growing plants. So it's how we deal with fertilizing. And when we're talking about plants, there is actually 4 nutrients that are the main nutrients that we need our plants to have. That is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur. But, and this is the special things when we're talking about beans, is that nitrogen might not be that as important as for other crops. So if you dig a plant of beans, you might see something like this, and you see those small nodules that you see there. These nodules, if you open them, they should be kind of pinkish inside. This is just something amazing about any leguminous crop, and is that they have this relationship with this bacteria called Rhizobium. And basically what it happens is that the plant gives the bacteria energy, like sugars in form, like it gives it food basically, and the bacteria fixates nitrogen from the atmosphere and gives it to the plant. It's like a symbiotic relationship, so both sides are gaining something. So it's something just amazing about leguminous crop. So we were just talking about planting, and I'm going to just show some videos that they are available on YouTube. The legend down there, it says where you can find them. So basically, you are seeing there a planter. You can see how they are putting the beans in the boxes. And basically, what this planter does, it opens the row, puts the seed, and then it closes it. And what they're doing there is they are checking if the depth of the spacing of this planter it's working well. This kind of planter, it comes in so many sizes depending on the size of the farm and the resources that they have. And there is so many technology that is being developed after this. So now we have GPS, satellite data to help us to manage all these things. Saying that, after we plant, and if everything goes well, our plants grow. Actually, the video here in the middle is from some lines from Dr. Osorno, so I'm going to thank him just for letting me go to his field to take some videos. So when our plants are growing, there is so many things that we have to take care of. So I really like this image. It's like so many things can go wrong when these plants are growing. So we could have a drought and we don't have water. And it's not like our garden that we can go and irrigate. So in some systems, yes, but not in all of them. We can have too much water, and like if we have a flood, it really damages our crop. We can have hail, that's actually pretty common around here. We can have heat stress. We can have freeze, as I mentioned before. We can have diseases. We can have pests. We can have weeds. We can also have market problems. We can have like a really decrease on the price of our products, or we can have an increase on the price of our inputs. That it's all things that they are damaging our production system. We can have failures in our machinery, and that's just expensive. And then we have to also deal with all these law policy systems. So there is so many changes that we have to be on top of them. We can have changes in the regulatory process of a product that we usually use, and then we have to change our whole system. So we have to be on top of so many things. Saying that, I have to say I really am the number one fan of all the farmers. I think they wear so many hats. They have to know so many things to have a good productive system. So they have to be plant pathologists, they have to be climatologists, entomologists, crop physiologists. They have to know about the IT, economics, soil experts, marketer, mechanics, wheat specialists. They know everything about their fields, and I just admire them so much. So saying that, I just finished my 1 minute of fun talk. When we go through the whole season, then we have to harvest, and you might think, okay, how much yield we have from 1 acre of beans. So here I'm pulling some data that's public data from USDA on black beans and pinto beans on the average yield for the state of North Dakota. And you can see there that 1,600 pounds per acre might be a good average for this state, but it really changes every year. And this is just showing how risky and how variable producing is. Saying that, let's see a little bit about how we harvest. Again, here we have a combine, and what you can see here is that basically you have 2 ways of harvesting beans. You can cut them and then pick them. Here is the picture of not nipped and nipped, or you can do something that's called direct harvest. That is when you don't cut them. So there is a good and bad things of both ways of doing these things. So basically, the combine here, it has like these teeth that are picking the plants that they were cut, and then it goes through the machine and basically it threshes. And what we can see later in the video is that it's after it threshes, it returns all the residue that is not grain back to the field, and that's so important in terms of sustainability. Here we have it's another person harvesting. The difference with the previous video is that he is direct harvesting. So it's this combine, it has also kind of a knife that cuts the plants while they are going. So you can see here these plants are standing, and you can see that the grains are being stored in the top part of the combine. And something that happens later in the video, or maybe it was the previous video here, yes. Something that happens here is that once it's full, it goes to a lorry, and basically after that we go to a processing storage. So basically the first thing that is going to happen when we go out to like some people call it binary, but just a processing industry, is that we are going to clean our beans. We are going to try to remove all the potential residue that we might have. After that, what is going to happen is that we are going to start the process of drying. It's important that we have exact moisture to be able to store it in a safe way, and we don't develop we don't develop diseases. Saying that, after that, what is going to happen, it's called grading. Basically, we're going to split or harvest in terms of size and in terms of quality. There is several quality measurements that we can do, and it also depends on which market. Just for FYI, these videos are some videos that are, again, public in YouTube. This is just one size of a processing industry, but there is a ton of different sizes and different things of different machinery that when we're talking about processing. So after we dry it and we clean it and we grade it, the next thing that we're going to do is basically the packaging. So here they're splitting the beans. They are going to be ready for, they are packaged and ready for distribution. So saying that, that's actually all what I wanted to tell you guys today. And I'm just on top. I did well with time. Usually I'm not that good with time. So if you have any questions, just let me know.